happiness.
Susan, can
And
you start over? I'm sorry, but yeah, okay. Now the live stream just started. So can you start over, please?
of course. Hi, my name is Susan Michel. I am here in Western Massachusetts. It is so great to be here as always. I am the author of Surrender to Joy, From Suicide to Serenity. It is based on the transformational truth of A Course in Miracles, which I have been studying now for 33 years. And A Course in Miracles is my personal path to peace, love, joy, and happiness. And when I think I have intellectually understood A Course in Miracles probably for the past 30 years. I find that my life goes smoothly when I incorporate my knowledge into my day. However, I still swing like a pendulum. I'm still challenged by life's triggers. And it's a constant, I guess, daily challenge, to really live the life that I believe in. I had a little I guess, example happen in the gym, a little opportunity for me to learn. I have been COVID positive for the past 6 days or so. So this morning I took a test and I was negative finally, and I'm so happy about that. So I immediately went into the gym, which is the place that I miss the most. And I'm always learning. I'm always growing. I'm always giving opportunities to look at life from the Holy Spirit or from my ego. My ego loves to judge. My Holy Spirit, the spirit side of me, never judges. And even like looking around the gym, one of the gyms I go to is called Planet Fitness. I remember this woman this morning, she was just doing an exercise, and for some reason I judged her. I know I did. I don't know why I judged her, but I did. And then I looked at her and she smiled at me, and just her smile made me refrain from judging and just love her, and just realize that we're not our bodies. Whenever I see someone as a body, I'm not seeing them for who they truly are. And we have that decision to make at each and every moment. Am I going to see someone as how they appear on the outside? Whether that be really, really beautiful or really not so beautiful, or, I mean, there's so many ways we judge everybody that we meet. But the only way to see someone as they truly are is to see through the external and realize that the body is not who they are. I mean, the body does not last. The body is transient. I mean, here we are in Course in Miracles workbook lessons, and today's lesson is lesson 212. It's a review of lesson 192. And each lesson now in the review starts out, I am not a body, I am free, for I am still as God created me. I mean, it's kind of easy to understand that intellectually. I mean, I understand what it says, but it's really hard to live it, because I don't believe that God doesn't want us to take care of our body, but he just doesn't want us to base our sense of self on our body, because the body is going to die. But what is real is going to live on forever. And what is real is our soul and our spirit. So he doesn't want us to place our sense of importance on the body, and when we can see through another person's body to who they really are on the inside, and who they are on the inside is love. I mean, that's when we're able to connect to them. I mean, A Course in Miracles tells us that we can't connect to someone through their body. We just can't do that. It's impossible. I mean, sex can be really beautiful, or it can be really not so great, but we can't connect to someone that way. The only way we can really connect to someone is when we see the essence of who they are. And that's not easy to do, because it's not what the world teaches. So again, here in lesson 212, Christ writes here, I am not a body, I am free, for I am still as God created me. And that's the first line in all of these review lessons. And then today is a review of lesson 192, which states, I have a function God would have me fill. I actually love that lesson, because that's what I'm working on connecting to in my own life right now. I have a function God would have me fill. And then here it says, I seek the function that would set me free from all the vain illusions of the world. Whenever we get caught up in our worldly agenda, it's just so easy to lose track of what's really important. And what's really important is connecting to the love that's within us. That's what's really important. I mean, again, today at the gym, there was this one gentleman, and I'm used to moving really fast, but he works there. He's there every day. He's so lovely, always really pleasant. I went out of my way to say hello to him, to smile at him with my toothless grin. I still have a missing tooth, but I put that to the side, and I smiled at him, and it was a really nice exchange. I think sometimes when we really slow down and greet someone else, and he gave me a compliment because I had makeup on, and really just be fully present with whomever we're with, and when we can refrain from judging them, that's when we're really able to connect to the peace, love, joy, and happiness that exists within ourselves. I did run this morning. I got up early. I got up at 5 a.m. I went to the local reservoir to run. Now the temperature here in Massachusetts is lower than it has been. We're over the heat spell. So this morning the temperature was in the 50s, maybe low 60s. It was an amazing run, and I passed some animals, a rabbit, and I saw a few people that are regulars at the reservoir, and I greeted them, with a smile. So whenever I take the time to really focus on the love in my surrounding, focus on the love that I see with someone else, it really helps me to connect to my true self, and I work on that. I think we all kind of have to make up our mind that we're going to focus on the good, the beautiful. We're gonna slow down. I think slowing down is a big part of staying connected to our true self, and then again, to go back to this lesson, I think I'm going to start from the beginning. What is written here in lesson 212, it says, I seek the function that would set me free from all the vain illusions of the world, Only the function God has given me can offer freedom. Only this I seek, and only this will I accept as mine. I am not a body. I am free, for I am still as God created me. So I think it's a constant surrender that I am aspiring to connect to, because A Course in Miracles says that God is always guiding us. He is always directing us, but it's important to slow down and to listen to what his direction is telling us to do. Yesterday was another beautiful day here in Massachusetts. My husband and I and two of our friends were out on the boat, and we had a big spiritual conversation going on. So it was really nice, and it was really kind of easy to connect to that loving place, when you're on the boat on the Connecticut River, and listening to music, talking about Course in Miracles, talking about spirituality. So that was a really nice way to spend Sunday. And then this morning, I actually had a podcast after my morning run. It was scheduled for 8 a.m. And in Singapore, I guess it was 8 p.m. I was having a podcast with someone from the other side of the world. And she was really, really lovely. The title of her podcast was Find Joy with Joyanne. And she was in Singapore. She was a young girl. She looked, I don't know, maybe in her 20s, early 30s, really lovely. And she had never heard of A Course in Miracles. She asked me about my book. She asked me about my suicide attempt. She asked me about A Course in Miracles, and I told her about A Course in Miracles. She said she was gonna buy A Course in Miracles. It's pretty easy to get a hold of the book now if you don't already own it. I have a couple of Course in Miracles books. I think they're not that expensive. You can buy them on Amazon. One thing I told her about A Course in Miracles is when you first pick up the book, it's not that easy to understand. I know it took me a while to really be able to understand what A Course in Miracles was telling me. But when I listen to it now, and I can really digest the information, and I can really live according to what A Course in Miracles is encouraging me to do, it's a very beautiful, beautiful way to live. And I guess my lesson lately is to do my best to realize that I am not a body, that nobody is really just a body. And in order to see them truly, we have to see through their body to the essence of who they are. And again, that's not easy to do. I mean, my husband too tells me, I mean, he's a recent Course in Miracles student. I've been studying A Course in Miracles for 33 years. He's been studying A Course in Miracles for about 5 years. He puts a lot into it. He's a very diligent Course in Miracles student, and he's aware of how easy it is to judge people. I think we all do that. We all judge other people based on how they appear, first with their body, and then after we get past that, sometimes we judge their personality traits. I mean, something else that happened to the gym that I just noticed about myself, the girl in the next cubicle, there was a a Smith machine that I was using. And then there was a Smith machine next to me that she was using. And she was a young, pretty girl. However, the whole time that she was working out, she was talking incessantly on the phone. And I noticed that it kind of irked me, because I feel like when someone is doing something, they should be focused on what they're doing. They shouldn't be, completely distracted. And that's something that triggers me. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's wrong. I know everybody does it, but that was something, just to be honest, that I was judging. And as I was judging her, I wasn't seeing her clearly. I did become aware of this. And when I became aware of it, I kind of said a little internal prayer. I let it go and it stopped triggering me so much. But we all like judge each other. We all have internal triggers. And again, when we're judging someone, we're not seeing them clearly. I mean, it was so evident to me. Again, I saw another lady, she was working out, and for whatever the reason, I judged her. I don't know, maybe she reminded me of someone who wasn't very nice to me in the past. I don't even know why I judged her. But then she just looked at me and she smiled, and my whole perception of her changed. It's almost I went from judging her to feeling connected to her. And that was the miracle. Because whenever we judge someone, we can't see them for who they truly are. It says in the Bible, it also says in A Course in Miracles. I mean, there's a lot of truth in the Bible. I guess, think sometimes the Bible is misinterpreted, but it says that we can't judge other people and feel God's love for us at the same time. We just can't do that. When we judge other people, we feel God's judgment upon us. When we love other people, we feel God's love for us. I mean, that's how the mind works. So if we want to remember, if we want to realize how much we are loved by God, what we need to do is we need to extend that love to our brother. You see, life is like a boomerang, right? When we extend God's love, when we extend our love to our brother, we feel God's love for us. When we judge our brother, we feel God's judgment upon us. When we condemn our brother, we feel God's condemnation of us. So we need to be very aware of what we're putting out to the world. If we want to feel loved, we need to extend that love. There's a song I remember that used to say this: you only get what you give. So when we're really feeling less than, all we need to do is start shifting our perception and seeing the world in a different way, just seeing the beauty in people, seeing the beauty in nature. They say the three things that's the most easiest to connect to are children, animals, and nature. Because children, animals, and nature, they're all so innocent. They all just kind of are who they are. They're not aware of time, and they're not aware of conforming. They're not aware of fitting in. It's so easy it's much easier to connect to our true self when we're in nature, when we're around animals, or when we're around children. As I was running through the reservoir this morning, I remember, as I mentioned, there was this little bunny rabbit who just, I think, kind of lost his mom or his dad, and he was just kind of hopping around, and he scurried away. And then I saw a deer, and there were clusters of geese. Even the geese are kind of funny. They get a little not happy when I run too close to them, and sometimes they give me a hiss or two, but I think it's all a facade. I think all animals are just so beautiful. They really are. Um, what I have in front of me here is I have the Miracles magazine. Now, this is put out by John Mundy, and it's such a wonderful magazine. John Mundy is an amazing Course in Miracles teacher, and I think why I was drawn to it today is because what I'm focusing on in my own life is not judging people and not seeing them as bodies, because that is the review that we're in. I am not a body, I am free, for I am still as God created me. And there are little excerpts in the Miracles magazine that speak about the body and how Jesus Christ gave up his body years ago. What it says here on the back cover of this particular Miracles magazine, it says, "Would you have remembered my life had it only been miracles? My miracles would soon have faded from memory. I gave up my body because the body is not what I am." I mean, but an opportunity, a gift that could best be shared by giving it up. Its most profound capacity for extending truth was to experience persecution of the Son of Love and die a violent death. So I think he gave it up, not to atone for our sins, because there are no sins. The Son of God is innocent. He gave up the body just to prove that the body itself is meaningless. It says here, there's an article inside the magazine about the crucifixion. Why crucifixion? And this is actually by Mary Beth Scalise, who I know is a very popular Course in Miracles teacher. She's fabulous. I've heard a lot about her. It says here, "I gave up my body to bring attention to what is true." And then she writes about why the crucifixion was an important part of the mission of Jesus Christ while he was here in this world. But again, A Course in Miracles tells us that the crucifixion without the resurrection means nothing. The whole point of the crucifixion is so we can realize that the vengeance of man means nothing. It has no effect on us. I mean, I'll read this one paragraph here. It's quite interesting. She starts with, "I gave up my body to bring attention to what is true. If not for crucifixion, the apostles would have returned to their lives trying to make bigger, better demonstrations of healing and holiness without recognizing the insignificance of the body, overlooking the Christ as eternally regenerative life. Regenerative is not reparation of life force. God, being perfect, never needs repair. Regeneration is the effect of the end of a desire for separation, death of body identity as experienced through forgiveness, allows the eternally regenerative consciousness of Christ and the resurrection of mind, Son, as God created. What you cannot comprehend is that I gave up my body, yes, for you and for all humanity, not for the atoning of sin, but to bring attention to what is true. The guilt and assault cannot harm the Son of God. Guilt and attack have no lawful power. They are unknown to innocence. The investment in punishment for sin is literally an investment in nothing. Sin is impossible to correct through punishment because it is not real. It is not of God and therefore not of God's Son. So, the crucifixion is not about dying for our sins. The crucifixion is to prove that fear has no power over us, that Jesus knew that he was innocent, and we're all innocent. We're all completely and totally innocent. And when I can connect to that state within myself, I feel at peace. It's I would say that's a lot of where I attempt to go as often as possible in my mind, by releasing any guilt, by releasing myself from blaming myself from any mistakes that I've made in my past. When I can connect to that innocent state of mind is when I'm able to connect to God. When I'm able to connect to that innocent state of mind is when I'm able to hear what God is directing me to do. And it's I always have a choice. It's like I have the angel on one shoulder and the devil on the other shoulder. And when I start blaming myself or blaming someone else, judging myself or judging someone else, then it's I kind of get lost in the world of the ego. I mean, that's when I'm really feeling the negativity in this world. But when I can forgive myself, when I can release judgment, when I can release blame, when I can realize that, I've never sinned. I mean, yes, I've made mistakes, but God is not holding me accountable for any sins, any mistakes I've made. When I can just forgive myself and others totally and completely, that's when I can feel the peace of God, and that's when I'm the happiest. So I'm just very grateful for the fact that God's peace, love, joy, and happiness is always available to me. And anytime I can just release my negative agenda and just surrender to God's will, then my day goes so much more smoothly. And again, we're always being given opportunities to connect to that life force, and I'm so grateful for that. I mean, A Course in Miracles tells us that only the love is real. As the introduction states, nothing real can be threatened, nothing unreal exists. Herein lies the peace of God. And I'm so grateful for that. I'm so grateful for that. That's what I try to remember as often as possible. That's what I try to meditate on each and every morning. I'm probably up to 5 meditations a week right now. But on that note, I will say thank you so much for being here with me today. And I will now return the microphone to Lynn.
Thank you so much, Susan Michel. Look forward to seeing you again on Friday.
Thanks, Lynn.